G'day, welcome back to Bite-Sized Bhagavad Gita. We are at chapter 13 today, which is the Prakriti-Purusha Yoga. Chapter 13 describes the field and the knower of the field. Coincidentally, I'm out here in just some random field. The air was nice, the sun shines good. It's probably on and off raining, so let's wrap it up real quick. Previously, recap, we looked at Arjuna's question to Krishna on the battlefield multiple times just to reinstate the answer in a different way because it's essentially the same question. It's the eternal question, and the good grace of the Lord, who happened to be Arjuna's first cousin, Krishna, is replaying time and time again these answers by stating that if you want me, here I am the answer. And one who is in line with Krishna consciousness emanates the qualities of equanimity, of placidity, of humility, of wisdom, of compassion, of spontaneity, and so forth. Those qualities are, they are qualities, and they are naturally emanating from one who is equipoised in yoga, in the various types of yoga, depending on one's bodily orientation, that is, karma yoga, or a jnana yogi, or bhakta yoga, so forth. So that's previous chapters 10, 11, 12. Here we are at 13. Chapter 13 is a bit tricky, but I'm going to capitulate it like this for those who have time and patience and an inquiring mind. Hinduism is the blessed philosophical aspect of the human imagination, whilst combining symbol, politics, and sociology. It aspires towards something greater that is within and without, right? That's that Paramatma, quality of Hinduism, the Trimurta, which is quite often depicted by the creation, the preservation, and the destruction as being one and the same aspect of the totality of cosmos. That is to say that one can firmly establish a practice, an inner practice of quietude, in order to come to realize that nature has destructive qualities that may be for the benefit of future propensity. This is called the Santan Dharma. Shiva, as the destroyer, is often depicted with the sun in his right eye, the moon in his left, and his eyes are always slightly open because he's seen this creation, this cosmos, time and time again. Slightly open eyes. Very nice depiction there. The Sanatan Dharma, the eternality of Hinduism, could be understood by its celebration in the fact that it is almost like a science. It's almost like it's a spiritual science. Because, in chapter 13, it's sort of depicted by saying that what we are observing, what we can observe, how to perturb it, as though it were a scientific, if you want to understand something, you got to smash it to pieces or something, and then, check the difference before and after sort of thing. The tools of which we use to conduct the observations, and how to measure conclusivity. I'm not really a scientist. I did study personally the philosophy of science. That's my major. And when I came across this chapter 13, it just has such scientific sort of resonances, which is amazing. So here we say that the Kurukreshta is the battlefield. That's the name of the place, and I've been there in India. It's a place in India, the Kurukreshta. That's where the Bhagavad Gita took place, right? These two opposing armies, and Krishna and Arjuna, in 45 minutes, just sort of battling out this eternal Dharma. And so Shriva Das, who was the composer of the Vedas, ended up describing how we call this the Kreshta, the field of what it is that is being observed, right? One could simply say in meditative aspect, it's the breath that could be the Kreshta. So the inner and the outer worlds are divided, okay? And that is probably the stem of a lot of confusion. So while meditation does strive to, dissolve boundaries and have compassion, just, flood into every nook and cranny of the entire corner of the cosmos, the duality between inside and outside is to some extent to be maintained. Okay? So the Prakriti is the name of the body, and the Purusha is the name given to the soul. Henceforth, the Prakriti-Purusha Yoga, which is the unification of the inner and outer, which doesn't mean that one is going to triumph with the other. It just means that somehow, for some period of time, they're in unity. Okay. So there is an objectivity. There is something to be known. I'm holding this microphone, and that is a thing. Tattvamasi. I am that. I'm looking at that. I'm studying that. Let's not get too caught up into that. For now, it just goes to show that that is what I am. That is the thing that is to be known, right? What is coming about is knowledge, okay? Dimensions, measurements, qualitative aspects. Then there is this knowingness, okay? But the most important thing is to realize and reflect upon the knower, right? So there are four things I've just mentioned here: the known, the knowledge that comes from the known, the knowingness, and the knower, right? Knower. So with that made clear, one can then begin to study anything and realize that it has both a dual aspect, okay? However, this is going to be real quick to wrap up, right? The Sanatana Dharma, the eternal nature of the Hinduism, and the way that I see that it is very scientific, is that within everything is the Paramatma, and the quality of the Paramatma, which is the localized aspect of the divine within every single object, tree, branch, leaf, fruit, so forth. Those individual aspects have within it a part of the whole. Happiness, bliss, truthfulness, compassion, the Satchitananda aspect of which the Hinduism teaches in the Bhagavad Gita are eminences of the Paramatma. So then, it could be said that if one is correctly observing the qualities that come about through the knowing, known, and knower, are the bliss, the wisdom, the Satchitananda that the divinity manifests within us all. However, our tools of perception are dirty. Our tools, that is the five senses, trustworthy, however not so dearly trustworthy. I mean, take the Rorschach test, for instance. Our eyes deceive us all the time. The Coca-Cola test, not many people can pass that. Is it Pepsi or is it Coke? So we can't trust our tongue. Senses are all over the place. Blindfold Mozart, who was blind, and he can compose because he had the ear. So one sense sometimes takes compensation due to the lack of the other sense. There are also the internal senses, the intelligence, the intellect, the wisdom. So there are five senses on the outside, five senses on the inside. These tools, which are senses, because it's that which we use to obtain information about the Kuru Kresta, the field of knowledge, the known thing, the knowingness, could be tarnished due to imperfect senses, because the senses have habitual tendencies to move into patterns of that which we're trying to break free of in order to realize the limitless. Because when we can realize the limitless, we get a taste of the divine, the infinite. And it's not always pleasant, and it's brand new, and it's also very eternal. It's this strange other thing. It's not another thing living inside, like the Paramatma is within a shared existence of some sort. No, it's not like that. It's that dual sort of nature. So we're using observation to notice that there is a divine presence within something, if it can be made happy, if it does have the capacity to have wisdom. If wisdom is within something, then it can be. So it's about tuning ourselves, essentially. That's the Kuru Krishna, chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for tuning in. Have a nice day. And don't forget to Hare Krishna. Peace.